You know what it is?
No, don't know.
I actually didn't finish it.
Well,
So I love this game.
how can you not finish this game? Sorry.
Till this day, I don't know. I got to a point where you have to find the aim boss, and for some reason, I never finished it. And then
No. So you have any excuses for any other game except this one? Sorry.
you're really gonna use it against me?
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Shut up and go back in your cave. So yeah, so I never finished it. And the thing is that I think I lost the save at some point or something was that. So I just didn't really want to go through it all again.
Gamers, welcome to Pixel Meeple podcast, where we talk about games, board games, card games, and video games. Just games. And all the magical moments that games can create, fond memories that we would like to share with all of you, and difficulty levels that we never seem to be able to beat. We are going to dust off some old classics, some old games, newfound classics that we have played. I'm Andrew, your host, and I'm joined with Robin, my co-host.
Thank you,
Third
mate.
episode ever.
The intro is getting better though.
Yeah?
Step by step, mate. Step by step.
I'm trying, man. Anyway.
So, how are you doing?
So, yeah, I'm doing really well. And last episode, we talked about beat 'em ups. So, don't think we're going to beat that episode. Had to make that joke.
That's just really bad. That's next level.
Yeah, that's next level. I'm gonna bring this one, so it's not gonna be in the same year. I'm gonna talk about a few games that are in a specific genre. But before we're gonna do that, also I would like to touch upon game that that I played and I was looking forward to. It was called S.T.A.L.K.E.R. It was a really interesting game.
Did you win?
The first mission we did, the second we didn't. And that was actually also the reason that we were kind of meh. It happened twice and that we hit on the same type of bombs. I will touch upon it very shortly. You have random events that will happen, but it is sequentially. And there is some sort of timer, but you don't know how long the game will take. So it could be that it could be ended in round 4. It could be ending in round 8. You don't know. And sometimes the game is prolonged because random effects will be added on top of the deck. Well, I think you know where this is going. It happened twice that we were confronted with the fact that the game was over after one last round. And that's just quite bad. I mean,
you could have planned for it or tried to plan for it.
Well, yeah, but then the game is trying to let you rush the game in a way or speed up. And there are other games that try to do that as well, but then at least you have a timer. So you know how long you have and you can kind of mitigate it. So I wanted to share because I was looking forward to that game. I thought, let's bring this one back in. I need to play this a couple of more times to officially bring it to the table into this podcast. But this is was a sort of like an anticlimax.
This podcast, I did really take something out of your playbook, though. So I have a team in my games. So
nice.
So I worked on it. I thought about it. I'm gonna do a team.
Nice.
So
well, let's head into the first segment. Into this first segment, we're going to touch upon some old classics. Going to dust them off. Both bring 3 games with us that share something in common. And we're going to share some fun memories about them. Yeah, let's toss a coin or whoever's going to start. Doesn't matter.
Question, do you have a coin?
We should bring one next time.
Well,
I don't have one.
I actually have 2. So I actually got These
Obviously,
nice
we
ones.
should roll the dice, right?
So I actually
Okay.
have these ones,
Okay, cool.
and it also goes in with my team. So
Oh, so for the people that are listening, he has some Star Wars coins with him.
yeah, and they are from these two figures. And this is the first game I want to talk about. And that has
Oh,
multiple reasons. So one of my favorite Star Wars characters there is. My team overall was Star Wars for all the games. I brought one board game, two normal games. So it will be fun this session. Of course, the first game I have to talk about is Knights of the Old Republic. One good reason why I talk about it as well is they're actually going to make a remake of it. There was talks about it was fallen off the wagon, but at least they're saying it's still going on. And Knights of the Old Republic is for me one of the best RPGs on Star Wars that they made. The story, and I still cannot believe that they didn't really make a, a really good movie or a series about this period of time.
I fully agree. I fully agree. I mean, this, yeah, you're going to talk about it, but this on itself is worth so much material that is able to switch to a movie or series. Yeah.
For people that haven't played this Star Wars story, it's an RPG. You basically wake up on a ship in a battle and you lost your memory. So you don't know who you are and you need to get off the ship, going to the tutorial, and you're about to the planet and you do a series of quests and you're trying to uncover who you are. For some reason, you're also quite force sensitive, and during the missions, you encounter Jedi at some point, and you're being sent off to the Jedi Temple to learn the Jedi ways. And you're accompanied by a lot of people. You have a few, I think, NPCs you can get on and join your team as you go through these quests and these missions, and you have to follow the main story. So it has RPG. You can create your own lightsaber. You're having fights, but it's not always only the Jedi side. You have also the other NPCs that have specific skills that help you in battle and defeat all these quests. It is a great game. For me, if you're also looking at the developer BioWare, and if you're looking at when Mass Effect, for instance, another really good game from BioWare, this was a predecessor to Mass Effect. Mass Effect also I think, one of the best story-driven games. This is what BioWare does really well. Grabs a story, grabs you into it, creates a universe where you start caring about these. A lot of good character interactions, and that for me does it. And one thing why I find this one personally also fun is that I'm taking something out of your book. You know what it is?
No, don't know.
I actually didn't finish it.
Well,
So I love this game.
how can you not finish this game?
till
Sorry.
till this day, I don't know. I got to a point where you have to find the aim boss, and for some reason, I never finished it. And then
No.
and
So
and then and
you
then
have any excuses for any other game except this one? Sorry.
you're really gonna use it against me?
Yeah, I'm gonna
Shut up and go back in your cave. So yeah, so I never finished, and the thing is that I think I lost the save at some point or something was that, so I just didn't really want to go through it all again.
Well, the good news is that you're not gonna spoil it for the rest of the listeners.
I do know the end though. I can do, but
Okay.
so for me, that's the reason why I'm quite looking forward on the remake as well, because I do want to finish the story, because I
Yeah.
was almost at the end, and for some reason, yeah, again, I think it was something with the save which died. I do have the Steam version, but that's dodgy in some places.
Did you play the second one as well?
I did, and
I'm gonna ask the obvious question now. Did you finish the second one?
I think I did finish the second one. Yeah.
Okay.
I did finish the second one. Personally, The Knights of the Old Republic, for me, I think it's a classic. I'm really happy to have a remake. I think that nobody disagrees with me that is a good game. It is Star Wars. You do need to like that story and that world, but it did a lot of things with gameplay, which, yeah, a lot of other games copied or went in the same direction, which is not a bad thing. If people are copying things of you, it's a good thing.
Yeah. I think this game has a couple of things for me. So I'm glad that you brought it up, because otherwise I would have brought it up in one of the
You
episodes.
can still. There's no rule that you cannot really bring it up again.
Fair enough. what I had to get used to, because I played quite a few single player RPGs before that as well, is the turn based thing. And the first time I played it, I was like, "Eh, wait, did the whole game just pause and then I have to click and react?" Felt really unnatural for me. But once you get the hang of it, it kind of get into a flow of the game itself. And also the fact that you started off with just guns and grenades and those kind of things, not as your typical Jedi master that you would like to play. It was also something that the first couple of chapters you have to get through, so to sort of say. But the story and the immersiveness and the things that they have added to the whole, I would say, is it canon? I think it's canon now, right? I think at least for the Star Wars universe, it's so
I guess so.
extremely rich. I mean,
I guess so.
yeah.
The thing what I found, especially with this story, if you look at the Knights of the Old Republic, and that's why I still don't understand why they made a bigger arc. Because especially if you're looking at the MMORPG, you have a lot of Sith and you have a lot of Jedi, and they're fighting basically for rule of the galaxy. And there are tons of ideas I think you can do with it, which everybody would love to watch. Not saying that all the things that are bringing out Star Wars now are bad per se, but it does give you a rich environment, which is not so in the Skywalker, right? Everybody's a little bit tired of that, especially after the last three movies. But you can start with new characters. You got Darth Malgus. If you don't know him, it's basically Darth Vader, but he's even more evil.
Looking different.
So and there is a lot of things you can do with that, and especially that Sith against Jedi battle, and all these other things in between. So hopefully they're going to do more with it. I think they are developing other things. Actually, I saw an XCOM based Star Wars game, which I'm really looking forward to as well, because XCOM is one of my favorite turn-based strategy games as well. Star Wars sense, hell yeah, let's do that. So Knights of the Old Republic, I wanted to bring that one to the table just because I wanted to go into my team. I started with that, so I've got a lot of other nice ones lined up for you.
Very good pick. I mean, amazing. I think next to Elder Scrolls, I think this is the godfather almost of single player role playing games with a huge immersive storytelling.
No, I can go with that.
No.
Especially with the story part. I think that they really did a different swing on that than any other. What's your pick?
My pick goes towards the competitiveness in the in late 90s, and it's a shooter. I think you kind of know which way I'm talking towards.
Counter-Strike?
Counter-Strike. Yeah. This game is a standalone version next to Half-Life. So Half-Life was
it a mod first?
No, yeah, I think it was a mod first. Counter-Strike, I think they had many versions after a certain moment. Counter-Strike Source. The one that I played most was 1.3 and 1.6. Basically, what the game is about is it's a team-based shooter, first-person shooter. So one team is playing the terrorists, one team is playing the SWAT team, and the terrorists have the objective to either plant the bomb or kill the SWAT team, and the SWAT team sometimes have to defuse the bomb or rescue the hostages. Gives a sort of an extra element to the shooter, because normally it was just a team deathmatch type of game where you head into a map and just shoot everyone and capture the flag or something like that. This is completely different. And once the round starts, you get a little bit of money. With that money, you can buy guns, either rifle. At first, you can just only buy a handgun and a few bits of ammo. And later on, if you win, then you get vest, rifles, shotguns, and those kind of things. So the better you do, the more you can do and operate. I mean, if I'm talking about DDoS, then the people that have played Counter-Strike exactly know what I'm talking about. It was such a competitive sphere. Talking about before the whole esport lifted off. Back then, it was sort of the League of Legends and the StarCraft type of game in that time. I was in a clan as well. And because, if you're playing Counter-Strike very heavily, then of course you need to join a clan. We thought, okay, let's join a tournament, which we did. And so we joined Clan Base. Clan Base was sort of like a tournament side. We went into just for fun and we thought, okay, we are mediocre, right? In the first group, we went in and we won our first match. So we were on top of the group.
On top of the
And
cloud, yeah.
yeah, and we were thinking that we were the big kings. Second game, they didn't show up, so we got the points. And I think the third one we won as well, but barely. So we were top of the tier. And then what happens is the ranking system will judge you as, oh, okay, so you're gonna be a level towards the next tier, you know? So and that matchup, we were completely destroyed. It was as if we were get battling with AI aimbots. You know, uh, I was just walking around a corner, poof, gone. Then another corner, boom, gone. Corridor, bam, gone. And we didn't even know where they were coming from. But it's still nice memories, right? I mean, we tried, we failed miserably, but we had some laughs afterwards. That was Counter-Strike.
Very nice. Yeah, Counter-Strike still. I just looked it up quickly, but Counter-Strike 2 still has 112,000 watchers at this moment on Twitch, which basically it's still very popular. And I think if you're looking at Counter-Strike, I think that everybody has good memories of the older Counter-Strikes and just when it started up. And that basically spawned also from the Unreal Tournament when we had back then, right? Those kind of games. But Counter-Strike was the first one that really went from a little bit fantasy to normal, right? Just like
a little bit more realistic.
Realistic shooter and stuff like that. And there were probably others, but that team deathmatch and going back and forth, that become popular really fast. And it's still popular, right? It's still, and there's no other game. What comes to mind for me that topped that, right? It's still on esports, it's still on the highest level. It really went on. We went from Counter-Strike 1.3, 1.6 to Counter-Strike Source, and now to Counter-Strike 2. It is still one of the best played FPSs currently.
Yeah, and I think if someone were to invite me for a matchup, I would join. Probably will be destroyed along the way, and then
But you still have these LAN parties and stuff like that because I was invited to a LAN party as well, and one of the first things like, oh, we're gonna play Counter-Strike because everybody knows it, right? But it's still all just it's timeless, and I think that while it's still popular now, that was the beginning setting it off. And yeah, I think that if people that are playing it now, when we started, they probably weren't even born. And the thing is that I have the same as well. You need to have amazing reactions, quick reactions. Seeing these pros basically literally with the face in the screen for some reason. Not sure how that makes your eyesight better, but for some reason it helps. Which is if I say to what you dust, you know exactly. You probably know the map in your head.
Yeah, in my head. Yeah, I can walk around, and
I probably haven't played it as much as you did, but I did play it somewhat here and there, and that's
great times.
Good pick. So next game, second game for me is board game. So
yeah, then may I guess?
You may guess.
Star Wars Rebellion?
No. Star Wars Outer Rim is my board game pick. And the reason why it's Star Wars Outer Rim for Star Wars Rebellion is that I think that Star Wars Rebellion is somebody that really loves Star Wars, which really captivates that game specifically. And you need to understand and want to know complex games. But Outer Rim is something different. So, which Star Wars Outer Rim, one of the first things that's really distinctive is the map, right? The map is basically a half circle showing you the outer rim, right? As the planets that are there. You're either a smuggler, bounty hunter, or rogue. And basically, what you're doing in there is you're trying to accumulate fame. And you do that by doing either jobs or finish bounties. So those are the things you do during the game. During the game, you just basically move based on the speed of your ship, and you just move and trying to complete all these bounties. In the middle, you have a big marketplace, and that marketplace you can buy new stuff. And if you accumulate enough money, you can even upgrade your spaceship. Along the way, you can also accumulate crew, which gives you extra skills to make some of these jobs easier. Looking for someone that really adds towards your play style, and or if you're a bounty hunter, you want to have more attack or easier to do the bounties. And for a smuggler, you want to have more speed, for instance, or you want to have other kind of skills to make your rolling easier because you have to roll for specific skills. The thing is that game, the thing what I found in the game, yes, it has a Star Wars theme, but if you really think about it, and you know the game, it could also be Lord of the Rings. It doesn't really matter because you can do quests, you can go from place to place from Riverdale along the way and accumulate something. It could be something like that, and you can
I don't
change.
fully agree, to be honest. Of course, but there are quite a few aspects in the game that you fully need to change. I mean, the ship, for example.
Yeah, you need to change a little bit, but the thing is that the theme itself, like it is Star Wars, but it's interchangeable. And while you're doing smugglers and stuff like that, you don't need to have to be in Star Wars to actually understand it. If you know the Star Wars, you would enjoy it even more, right? Because it really touches base. But I can play it with my partner, for instance, with my wife, and she can just understand it, and it doesn't really say, "Oh, this is Star Wars," right? It shows you being a smuggler or you being a bounty hunter trying to be bounties, and if you know the characters or not, it doesn't really matter too much, right? It will just resonate more with Star Wars fans overall, which I find a good trait, right? Because not everybody likes Star Wars as a game itself, and
Which I
also
don't understand.
to each his own. I'll say
Yeah.
always, but having a game that you don't really need to be involved or invested in the Star Wars universe and still have a good time. I find that was really good. It was developed and given out by Fantasy Flight Games in 2019, so it's not even that old game, and it does a lot of things good. And one of the thing is that I do have to say the drawback of this game is that if you play it with two players, you have less interaction. You do have interaction, but less interaction. I think the game best with, I think you can play it to max with four, maybe five. I'm not 100% sure. But the more players, the better, because then you are really in each other's way. Right? You encounter each other. There's more ways, and you have more interaction overall. And if you're playing with two, one can be on the other side of the map, the other can on the and that side of the map, and you have less interaction, which is too bad. You have two players, so that's it.
I didn't find it any problem at all or not bothersome in during the game. Normally, I would like to have a lot of player interaction, and I know that this game isn't that heavy on player interaction, but then it makes it more, let's say, easygoing. And you can just do your thing. And at the first play, which I thought was more problem of, I don't know if it's the right word, problem, to be honest, but it's the luck factor, the RNG. But if you play it more often, then you kind of know which cards are located where, and so what to look for. If you just play it for the first time, that's not that really obvious to you. So then
Yeah,
the first guess is then, hey, I don't know, if you're choosing the bounty hunter, for example, you get an assignment and then you have to look for a specific character, and then it feels like you're going to multiple planets finding that one character and just not able to find it. But there are some mitigation in the game itself to be able to find it more easily.
yeah. The thing is that what I find nice about this game is that you can influence the RNG a little bit. So you still have to roll dice at some point, but depending on how much you have on a certain skill, can affect the outcome and have an easier throw, right? And that is quite fun. Another thing what I like with the interaction, especially if you have more players, you have one have the bounty hunter and somebody maybe they need to bounty hunt one of your crew so they can do it. Manipulate the map a little bit by attacking patrols that are around the map, which are basically every time you buy something, a patrol moves out and you need to dodge it or you need to go over it if you have a bad standing. Another thing is that is the market itself, because you can buy something from the market and then you can also discard something. The thing is that knowing that you need to discard something, you can also give somebody else a really good card, or you can take a gamble in that sense. But you're going through the market quite quickly, so there's a lot of different ways to playing this game and having different characters that have are more smuggling or are more bounty hunting, and you have some more options, making it also a little bit. You're never playing the same game, right? You have a lot of good quests in there, which sometimes are hard to complete. You need to really make decisions. For me, this game itself checks just a lot of boxes, and I find it really fun to play. Especially if you go to bounty hunter and more on the attacking one. I think that smuggling is fun and you can do jobs, but when you're going on the offensive, it's even more fun. And we're also it's harsh, but it's fun. Is that we always kill Lobot for some reason. So Lobot is the the helper of Lando Calrissian. For some reason, we always kill him. It's like, do we need to bring him back? It's too far. Let's kill him. If you kill him, you still get points. You're not getting as much points for getting him back, but sometimes it's too far. You just kill him off. It's kind of
It's
cruel.
a running joke almost.
it's kind of cruel. We also always kill Lobot just
Yeah.
because reasons.
So why I love this game as well is normally it's all about Jedi's and that's specific thing of the Star Wars universe. And I personally like the bounty hunter and the smuggler part of the universe as well. So I like Mandalorian series. I think it's really cool, and the characters are cool.
Yeah, a really fun game. It's different, right? A different kind of board game and on how the board is. Has a lot of good elements, good replayability. It's just fun overall in my sense. It's quite easy to learn, which it really checks a lot of boxes from my perspective. And Star Wars Outer Rim. What's your next game?
So my next two games you're not gonna guess or able to guess.
Now you're giving me a challenge.
Yeah.
So now you need to give me
a few hints. So it is the same type of genre. It is
shooter.
A shooter, tactical shooter, with a little bit of planning as well. The game that I will talk about is the first one in the series. So
tactical shooter,
and it's based
planning.
on and now I'm gonna if you're still not able to guess it, then I will give
Rainbow
you a hint.
Six.
Yeah, there you have it.
Wow. I still got it.
Yeah, so because I was thinking,
don't underestimate me.
Yeah, perhaps I was thinking, okay, now I need to talk about that it is based on a writer or something like that, and then he's able to guess it. But
probably not. Me, writers and books, not a thing.
Well, Tom Clancy. I mean,
okay, Tom Clancy. I know. Yeah, okay, yeah. Tom Clancy. That's because my dad is in it, not because I fancy those books. Yeah, okay.
Rainbow Six. And I think this is still considered the best game of the whole series. And basically, what you're doing is you're representing a SWAT team. Yeah, let's say a REST team that have to do certain type of objectives, like a hostage situation or a bomb situation, those kind of things. You get a briefing at first, so it will give you a bit of intel in a very good vibe, as if you're in a headquarters itself. You get snippets of intel, so small movie clips and camera shots of persons that are, potential suspects and where they were last seen, those kind of things, and association of any terrorist groups and some background of those terrorist groups. Then you set up your team, which persons you're able to bring along. They have actual names. Of course, they are, randomized and those kind of things, but it will give you a sense of, you're doing a team building, and this guy is, I don't know, Sanchez from Spain. He has this type of skills. So you set up a few teams, yellow, red, blue, it doesn't matter. You can make the teams as big as you would like. Then you get a map of the situation itself. So, for example, it's a villa, and you have to rescue the mayor. I'm just making this one up. And you kind of know where the terrorists potentially are located, and you have to do some waypoints for the specific teams. You make a sort of like a plan. And then you get into the mission itself. Oh, no, you have to do a loadout. So which type of weapons you bring along and those kind of things. Then you start the mission itself, and then you step inside of a person of a team. The thing is, what the game thinks you will do, what I did completely wrong as a kid, is you have to walk towards the waypoints that you have set out. Then the other team needs to move to their waypoint, do the specific action that you have directed, and give the assignment. What will happen is you jump into a person, you walk into a room, you shoot You walk to the next room, you shoot until the very moment that you get killed. And this AI was quite difficult, to be honest. If they were able to see you, bam, you got hit, you were MIA or KIA.
KIA.
Yeah, killed in action. And then you just jump into the next guy in another team, and then you do the same stuff over again. But still, that whole vibe and that whole setup, the briefing, the planning. I mean, wow! For that moment in time, I think it was around the period of the N64. So all the heads look like polygons, type
Easy
of
to hit, though.
faces. It was such a good game. Great memories about it.
Okay, nice. Rainbow Six. I'm just gonna check on when it came out. When did it came out?
It's
Actually,
a PC game.
yeah. Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six was the first game, and that was '98. So the last one that came out, because the last one that came out is Rainbow Six Siege. So that's the newer version came out to newer
And
version. It's
they
already
were
10 years old, by the way.
Yeah, and they were really hyped about it, Rainbow Six Siege, and the trailers and everything that I saw about it as well were really impressive. The hype didn't deserve to be there.
Okay, so the game wasn't as good that everybody was.
No, unfortunately not. No.
So did you play it on the PC or did you play it on the Nintendo 64? Because it's a
PC.
Okay. So you have the PlayStation, Nintendo 64, and Dreamcast for everybody who actually knows what that is.
I think originally it was released at first at the PC, and then they released it afterwards on the consoles.
Nice pick. I think that most people or veterans in this world these days know what Rainbow Six is, and it's a fun game though. I played a little bit, not too much though. It's a good shooter. It's a lot of fun. I'm not sure which I played. I think I played it on PC as well. Okay.
So your third one.
So my third one is one that we both have something in common with, or have a history with. So last one I was thinking about what will I do, but I couldn't get this one out of my head. So yes, it's Jedi Academy. We had to do that. So Jedi Academy came out in 2003. It's a third person shooter where you're actually being a Jedi or a Padawan going into being a Jedi Knight. Hosted by your Jedi Master KOTOR, who was the protagonist of the game before that. And you're Jaden, and you're just gonna run into, and you have a really best friend that already has dark side tendencies. A little bit foreshadowing there within in the first 3 minutes is like, okay, he's gonna go to the dark side. We pretty much know that in the beginning of the game.
Definitely, yeah.
And you basically go towards the game, learn to be a Jedi, get more skills. You could really choose between light and dark side skills or what you want to do. Didn't really affect the story and the outcome that much, which was different within the Jedi Knight of the Old Republic. But here you just basically if you wanted to electrocute somebody with your hands, seems to be quite easy. Just do a few points in, electrocute people with your hands. Or do you want to choke people? Yeah, choke people. A KOTOR was like, that's your fancy, fine.
Whatever.
in generally, it was also quite fun to play. You can still play it on Steam, so it's in the sale. It's you can still play it. It does actually play really good with the same quirks and game-breaking bugs in there, which you can prevent, but was sometimes quite annoying. And the story is where you have the certain cult issue frame, and you can go towards the game. And the fun thing is that you start with a normal lightsaber, and then you also have grenades, and you also have just blasters if you want. But you have your normal lightsaber, then you have two lightsabers, and you can also have the dual lightsabers. And one of the fun things as well for me, which really brings it in mind, was the multiplayer. Because back then, multiplayer was upcoming, right? With also going back to Counter-Strike, where you had some multiplayer as well. And then you also had GameSpy. For everybody who knows that will probably say, oh, God, I'm spiking a game in my head now that I played on GameSpy way too much. You basically play towards each other, and then you play with the dual lightsaber, and then with the two lightsabers, and you basically have a map, and you have like 20 Jedi just trying to duel and kill each other. It was quite fun as well, and everybody had the dual lightsaber, right? The Darth Maul saber, that one. But that wasn't actually the strongest one. One of the strongest was just the normal lightsaber, because it had one strong slang, and if you just got hit right on the right way, you just basically died in one go. It's like, yeah, but I got to do a lightsaber. Yeah, but now you're just
Yeah,
basically,
but I'm looking cool. Look at me, looking cool.
yeah,
Bam.
and now you're basically sliced in half. And that was really fun because you had all these people just running around and just all these battles back and forth. And I did actually got quite good at it. And I just played, or I played these two lightsabers, or I played the one lightsaber, and it just was just a lot of fun and trying to win. One, there wasn't really a ranking system or anywhere. You're just gonna will each other like you're a Jedi trying to kill each other, and
Yeah,
also
it was.
then trying to use force powers to push and pull. You pull them and then flop and dead. And then they come for revenge as well because they come running after you. And
It was just pure chaos. I mean, chaos, as same as what you have in any deathmatch type of games. It was also based on an Unreal Engine, so if you were just opening the game itself, it didn't look that fancy or so. Also, the story wasn't also that good, to be honest, especially not if you compare it, of course, to Knights of the Old Republic. But they did something so cool. They brought something to the fans, the Star Wars gamers, that they were longing to. Don't give us guns, give us lightsabers and force powers. Okay, and throw us in an arena and we'll have fun. And that was it just happening in a multiplayer version.
that
And
was
there were
fun.
so many meme-liked moments, like people that know the Indiana Jones movie where that guy is swinging around with that knife and then Indiana Jones pick up the gun and shoot him. That those type of moments were happening in that game during the arena
Yeah.
constantly.
Yeah, and that was very fun. And the thing is that personally with this game, and it was actually with you and you know as well, on the school when we worked there, just for just getting work experience there, where we downloaded the demo on these machines, installed the demos. But the thing is that if you turn off these machines, they basically wipe the whole machine, and then you start over again. We were just downloading and playing this game for the first two levels because in the demo you could play the first two levels. And what happened is like where the teacher came in and he could check upon us, and I just turned off the monitor, and you turned off the PC. So then he went away, and then I turned the monitor and continued. And I was like, "Why are you not playing?" Yeah, I turned off the PC. Oh, you have to start over again, and then
Yeah.
downloading all that stuff again, and then
Yeah.
reinstalling it, and then so.
I felt so stupid at that moment.
For me, that was personal victory because I was just playing and got better because you were trying to reinstall the thing. Gives me a lot of good anecdotes when the power went out and we were playing, or not the power went out, but the internet went out and we were playing Red Alert 2. That was a good one.
Yeah,
That was a good way.
definitely. Yeah.
But yeah, this game, I had a lot of fun with it back in the day. I think that the story is fun to play as well. It's not really groundbreaking, but the overall gameplay is fine if you get a hang at how to kill other dark cultists. Yeah, it's fun. It brings you to all the locations you know in Star Wars. Actually, fun game to play. You also learn a little bit more about the lore, especially if Darth sits and stuff like that. So, yeah, good game, good fun.
Solid. Great memories. Mine is another tactical shooter, first person shooter. As I told you, I didn't have the N64. I did play quite often GoldenEye, but wasn't able to have it myself. This PC game was sort of like an evolution of it. Got a lot of inspiration of GoldenEye and also Perfect Dark, which was came after GoldenEye, of course.
Don't think Perfect Dark was way better.
Yeah, of course, but it was a game after GoldenEye. I'm not
Yeah,
saying that the one is better than the other,
that's true.
but I'm talking about Project IGI.
I never could have guessed that one. Though.
No, definitely. This is a single player first person shooter where you're basically a secret agent. Also, if you're a secret agent, then you have to be British. That's, I think, sort of like a common thing. I don't know why, but the setting was really cool. So you had a cinematic entrance. You can do climbing. You can cut some fences. All the typical interaction that and even more that you could do within GoldenEye, I believe. You had certain objectives. I don't know. You have to get some intel in a base, nuclear plant, destroy something, plant a bomb. Well, all the stuff, typical stuff that a secret agent a British secret agent typically does on a normal day. At least that's what we tend to believe. And the setting was really cool. I think also the hype around it was really built up. Everyone was really, really looking forward to it. Also, the magazines that I had was really building up this tension. So you really need to start playing this game. The reason why it felt flat was there was no multiplayer, and the AI was, well, bad, just really bad. But the missions were really cool. I personally liked it. The whole thing. The missions were long as well, so it took you quite a long time in order to get your objectives. And the map were also quite big, so it wasn't just running into a bunker and just do the thing and then walking out. And it has the same cinematic feeling that, well, GoldenEye and Perfect Dark also had. So it was a bit of a shame that it was a letdown. For me personally, it wasn't that big of a deal that it didn't have multiplayer. A bad AI did kind of break the game. But yeah, I think still worth the mention. I think a lot of people forgot this game. So good to dust it off. And about it.
Back in the day, those games did well. So I played Perfect Dark and GoldenEye for a long time because if it's the same setting, and then yeah, those games were really loved back then.
And what was cool is they wanted to make some cutscenes where you were getting briefings or intel through your earplugs. So you were seeing you as a polygon type of figure, and then next to it a picture from someone who's getting you the intel, right? And it was a woman with a headset on doing exactly the same thing over and over again, typing on the keyboard like this. And just kept on talking. I was like, okay, that's easy animation,
Okay, nice pick.
So you know what will happen next, right?
Sadly, I know. Yeah.
Yeah. Save, retry, or game over. You may start.
You may start. So Counter-Strike stays. I would say redo Rainbow Six, but now do it properly.
Yeah.
And
Fully
then
agree.
Project IGI, just game over because
Yeah.
you got your
Honorable
chance.
mention. Yeah.
You've been there. You died.
Yeah.
Fine.
Sad.
I think that would be the best. The last one was 10 years ago, so it might be a new one. Counter-Strike is still good what this does, and it has a lot of updates and stuff like that. I wouldn't expect a Counter-Strike 3 really, really soon. So yeah, I think that's my picks. I think you have a little bit of a harder time. I do think what you're going though.
Yeah. You made this really difficult this time. And especially since it's Star Wars and you know that I'm a Star Wars fan as well.
Yeah, you have to kill one of your darlings, mate.
Yeah. Well, the first one is really easy. So retry Knights of the Old Republic.
They're already gonna do it, so yeah.
Yeah, they are gonna do it anyway. But they at least there was speculation that it was cancelled. Finish the game. Everyone is looking forward,
I think it will do good. Yeah, I think it will. Yeah. I think that a lot of people with if you polish it up, it will do pretty good.
And I wasn't a big fan of the MMO implementation of it. It was a good try though, but didn't get the feeling that I got from Knights of the Old Republic. So
I think that was the MMO feel that you need to be a little bit grindy, and so you just wanted to go through the quests and stuff like that, and you didn't really care too much about the combat. So
yeah, I cared about the story. So yeah, and then Jedi Knight Academy save. Yeah, save. So that means game over for Outer Rim.
Yeah, mate. I know the answer.
If we were to say game over for Jedi Knight Academy, does that mean that I need to erase my memories as well?
No, you can keep your memories.
Okay, then game over for Jedi Knight Academy. Then I will just keep it to my memories. Okay, sorry for the people that would like to try Jedi Knight Academy, but yeah. So
because they still can. You can buy it on Steam, by the way. But it has a really nice crossover into my next game. So
and save for Outer Rim. Yeah, it was a close call. Close call. So
made you think for a second. So
yeah, exactly. It was a good one. Made it difficult to me. So let's head into segment number 2. Newfound classics, encounters of games that we would like to talk about, potential hidden gems, or things that we think are just worthy of sharing. So I'm going to start off. This is a board game, and I played this a lot of times. It's not the game that you're thinking about, I'm assuming. This is a family game, and this is tied to another hobby that we both share, and that's Formula One. It's Heat, Pedal to the
Oh,
Metal.
I was like, where is this go? It's like Formula One. I was like, Ticket to Ride or something like. Well, what is that?
No,
Or?
Heat, Pedal to the Metal. And this is published by Days of Wonder, and it is actually the publisher of Ticket to Ride. So it's sort of like a segue to what you just said. And they were the publisher around, I think, the 2000s or so, with Ticket to Ride and Memoir 44. But it took them a long time to score another hit. And I believe they got this one with Heat. This is a racing game. So everyone just picks their own color of a Formula One car. It's, I think, 70s type of styled Formula One with the typical Monaco type of feeling if you see the pictures of it. You get a small deck of cards with numbers on it. And those numbers will say how fast you can go. In any deck building game, you pick 5 cards on top of your deck. Those 5 cards will determine what actions you have. And then based on those actions, you can get also other type of cards. Depending on if you were to hit the corner right or no, not, because the corners will determine how fast you are able to go to around the corner itself. So if you go too fast, then you just crash and burn. You have to shift gears to the first gear and get a few additional stress cards, which will fuel your deck of cards and will basically ruin it. And there are a few mechanics on top of it. You have, they call it heat cards, which you try to spend because then you can get faster around the corners. But if you spend too much, well, then you crash and burn. You have gears. Those gears will say how many cards you're able to play in one round. So if you're in 4th gear, you are able to play 4 cards. If you're in 1st gear, you're able to play 1 card. If I'm talking about this in this type of way, you're probably thinking it's quite a simple, easy game. It is an easy game to understand, but once you're into it, it really felt like a racing game. And the first lap is kind of predictable, but the second lap, and then it becomes harder and harder because your deck is either ruined because you've taken way too many risks, or it's getting into a flow and a rhythm that you're trying to hope for. They have added a few expansions to it as well. I have all those expansions, so new maps, meaning new racetracks. Also modules in terms of weather and engine cards, suspension, those kind of things, which makes your deck unique compared to the other person.
Okay.
Great fun.
Another game you haven't introduced me to yet.
Yeah, we should definitely play this one.
Yeah, you always say that. You never invite me.
But this, yeah,
I'm
okay.
gonna take it personal at some point.
I will say that this game needs to be played with at least 4 people.
Okay.
You can add some bots to the board game,
Yeah,
but it doesn't really feel the same. I think one cool mechanic that is in the game as well is if you're behind someone, you get slipstream. Basically, if you're behind it, then you get an overtake. If you're next to him, you get another pass. So calculating exactly where potential player would end in their turn, if that player just is in front of you, and that means that you get an overtake in the corner and you get way too fast, and then, well, you crash and burn.
So you really need to think ahead and need to try to calculate what the risk might be. Okay, interesting. Yeah, never played it yet. I think it's in the top 50 of board games. I think I'm not sure where it exactly is, but I think it's high up.
Yeah.
Best board games on
It's
the
based
list.
on Flamme Rouge, and it was a cycling game at the same type of feeling, also deck building. And while most people preferred Flamme Rouge, I actually prefer this one.
Okay.
Because, yeah, well, first of all, the hobby, so team wise, but also to add a few additional layers to it, especially with the expansion, that makes it way more interesting for me.
Okay. Cool. Heat. So we're
Yeah,
gonna need to play it then. So
great family game.
okay. The next game I'm talking about is it's actually a quite recent game, and it's also a Star Wars game, which I missed when it came out. And that had to do with all things personal life, my youngest son to being born, a new house. Then I got on the same time, so there was a lot of things going in my personal life. That's why I kind of don't mind that you killed off Jedi Academy, so I'll get you through it. And this is Jedi Fallen Order, and for me, this is basically Jedi Academy, and then amp it up to 1000. It's just really good. It is only a single player game, and I think that it doesn't really sold too much or receive that well for some reason. But when I played it, I just loved it. After Order 66, you're one of the Jedi that got away. You're quite young, so you saved and you're on, I think it's Corellia or something like that, place where they're dismantling warships of the Clone Wars, which is really nice because you see the demolishing a Venator class because now they have Star Destroyers. You're a Jedi, basically a Padawan. You didn't really have a master, and you're being discovered, and you're again on the run because you tried to save somebody because you're good and you didn't want them to die. Spoiler, I think he still did die. He still died. But you're still on the run. So, and you are trying to regain your Jedi forces and you're going through the game. It has a really nice, compelling story. It fits in the canon. It introduces some new characters. It also gets some old characters back. If for people that played the game, especially the end game, when that specific character comes into play, it is just everything I hoped for. So it was really good end scenario to end the game with. But when I played it, it also was in the COVID period. So I think that a lot of people that have been in that period can relate, and you had nothing to do. And then you're finding this gem. And I basically played it silly till I got all the achievements. But personally, what for me was fine is that at the end of the game, and I had that even more than I had with Jedi Academy, I actually felt like you get to a certain point where you get better and better and better, and then you have stormtroopers, and then you just deflect a few bolts, grab one, pull them together, stab him, kill the other one, throw your lightsaber, and you're basically all you do is the thing. It's like they couldn't hit you. You basically killed and slaughtered all these stormtroopers, and you got more effective at it as you go. And that feeling, basically killing all those stormtroopers because hey, there's a stormtrooper, so fair game. And then you can just do all your Jedi powers, and but the combinations you could do. So if you also can look online and you see how people are playing that are really good at that game, and there's also now a sequel of it which I didn't play yet, which I still is on my list. You really felt like a powerful Jedi. The boss fights itself were also really well done. It was also not an easy game. For me, it really brought everything together, and it was a really new story. It was new, but it wasn't new. So, right, they brought in something that you, in the overall canon and movies and stories, wasn't really told about, right? And seeing those Venator class ships being demolished, those are the things that because I'm invested in the Star Wars universe, like how did they went about that? There weren't just Star Destroyers for some reason or stormtroopers. How did they come towards that? And those stories behind that make that
It came more alive.
it came more alive. Yeah. So
Yeah.
there was more backdrop. It's like, how does this happen
Yeah.
and how did that happen? It's like, how can you just control the universe if you're just existing, right? Especially with Order 66 and what happened after that. You want to know. It's just because it has a certain ending, especially if you're looking at the movies when Vader became Darth Vader, and then it stops. But it isn't that an empire is built in just a wink of an eye. And then you go to the right. If you go to the New Hope, for instance, then they have Death Stars and they're fully aligned and they have the whole universe under their control. But there was something between that, which is really fun to explore in my
Yeah, and it is a very interesting time period, as you're mentioning as well. And I think that's also the reason why they chose to zoom in with, well, with this game, but also in the series, and with one, I think Rogue One as well. It makes a much more immersive connection between Episode 3, the movie, and the fourth. Yeah, and the game itself. I think what they did really well is you felt really like a amazing Jedi, but not in an over exaggerated way. So Forced Unleashed, which I find like a really good game as well, they did it in a
Yeah, they exaggerated the whole.
exaggerate.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and this was more Jedi feel. Yeah, this was more in line with what I find what a Jedi would do and what he can do. But
and
yeah,
it felt
I
more.
understand.
Yeah, it felt more canon and
It's fitted better in the overall story.
exactly nice one.
So Jedi Fallen Order, and yeah, it's a new one, but because it fell on my lap, then I just finished start to finish. So it's really good.
Nice. So last segment of the podcast. What are we looking forward to, Robin?
So looking forward, and this is also a Star Wars game, which actually recently got a resurgence. That's why I wanted to talk about it briefly, and that's Star Wars Battlefront 2. We have May the 4th with us, just passed not too long ago. And we also have Andar 2. And it seemed that it basically sparked the re-emergence of Star Wars Battlefront with a lot of new players, or even the player
Hmm.
base
Okay.
rising again and playing that game. Well, it's a pretty old game, actually.
Yeah, it is.
So yeah, that's something that was brought up to me and got my attention. It's like, oh, why is the player base rising again for some reason? Well, it's very old. I think also it has to do with the absence of those kind of games, and people just want to. They don't see a lot of new um, other kind of type of games, so they just like, okay, I'll just go back to that until something better comes up, right? So I think that also has to do with, well, the games that are just played out. And the thing is that we have some games that are just really old already, right? And because we don't not getting anything else like GTA, we're waiting for GTA 6, right? We have a lot of players there. We have other games that, for instance, fall that in that category. I can understand why people are just playing. Oh, let's. And still a fun
Mm.
game overall. So especially when
Imagine
it
that
gets more
you're
alive.
the game designer or the game publisher of that game, and you're looking at your statistics, and you're like, huh, what? What just happened?
Yeah, but the thing is that Battlefront 2 also really had a bad rampant loot boxes and stuff like that. So I think that they might, oh, more loot boxes, but I'm not sure if
Yeah.
that's going on there. But
No.
so yeah, Star Wars Battlefront 2, it really has reemergence. I do have it. I might give it a go just to see what's happening. But it seems to be alive. I'm not sure how long it will last, but it
Yeah.
maybe also spark the interest of game developers and others as well to make maybe a new one, or maybe investors, where investors say, oh, this game is living up. So you never know how that may trigger a new release in now or a few years.
Cool. So I'm looking forward to continue my journey in Zelda universe in Breath of the Wild.
Are you going to do it?
I'm gonna do it. Yeah.
Oh,
I
okay.
mean, it's such a amazing game. I think elevates. Well, we're gonna talk about it in a different episode, but it really elevates all the things that I love about Zelda so far. So yeah, I want to continue my journey.
Yeah, the thing is, for me, especially for that future episode, I really want to think on what you like about that. How do you like the story? How do you like the world? How do you like the story building? The overall mechanics. Now, the mechanics are Zelda-like, so I think there's
Mm.
not much to ignore. But there's a lot of things to explore in that game, which is really fun. There are a lot of nice interactions, a lot of throwbacks, also some funny things in there. So I'm really I want to understand it, like, or really want to see what your feel is. And to be honest, towards that, but I don't want to give you an assignment. I also want you to know, because I really want to have basically dedicated an episode almost towards that, is to Tears of the Kingdom. So Tears of the Kingdom is, of course, the next one.
Whoa.
And
You don't I don't
I
have that much spare time, you know.
I say priorities, right? You
Okay,
have
okay.
time, just don't have the right priorities.
Okay.
But because I really want to say, like, how did you like? So I have a certain view about that, and maybe not the most popular view about Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, because those are similar games, and they all bring something new to the table. But that is a discussion I would like to have. It's like,
Okay. Okay.
but play Breath of the Wild. As you know, I played that game silly. I have all the cork sheets that, for people that play this game, know that I'm pretty nuts.
Yeah,
Not a lot of
you
people
are.
do that. Uh, yeah, and for some reason, I still didn't finish KOTOR for some reason. But I do have all the core sheets of Breath of the Wild.
I still
And
don't
Tears of the
understand,
Kingdom, by the way.
to be
But
honest. I still don't understand.
I don't understand either.
Cool. Well, that was it. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to like, subscribe, or leave a star rating. And more importantly, create some gaming memories.
Until next time.